4 downs is now. We're going to talk some spring game as it does matter. Believe it or not, it does matter. 4 downs is right now, and it's brought to you by our fantastic friends at the UPS store, Hardin Valley. Let's dive in. Where would you rank the spring game in terms of mattering, Caleb?
Rank it versus what?
I guess they used to have open scrimmages and stuff. Let me ask you this. Do you see more out of the orange and white game than you do, let's say, a matchup against Kent State?
Oh, well, yes, because Kent State is purposely throwing games. So, I mean,
Chattanooga.
I still say yes. I see more out of the orange and white game than I do out of Chattanooga. Because guess what? They're facing tougher competition on the other side than they are when they face Chattanooga.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. Okay, so Tennessee, let's 4 downs it now as our good friend, the one, the only Cooper Mace will get us from point to point. 4 downs. Cooper, what should people do?
Cooper Mace here. Hit like and subscribe.
All right. Thank you, Coop. And which down?
Coop here. First down.
Okay. Tell me if this matters. It shows the players what they can do with a crowd in front of them, air quotes, under the lights, so to speak. There's some truth to this. A player could wilt. However, I don't think there's much truth to it. I think at the end of the day, you're not going to wilt in front of 40,000 fans. A lot of these guys have played in front of 6, 7, 8,000 in high school. I don't think there's a major jump, and I don't think you're going to see players wilt and then subsequently wilt this fall with 100,000 seats.
I think you kind of can sometimes, because there's a couple of things that's underrated about the jump from high school to college, Dave. And it's kind of like in college basketball where they play in like a football stadium for the Final Four. It's not just the fans; it's the depth perception of the stadium you're playing in to a certain degree. Yeah, I think that throws you off some.
Well, they've held some practice there. All right, second down.
Coop here. First down.
That's first
Cooper
down.
Mays here. Second down.
It's another practice at the end of the day. Here's the problem why I don't adhere to this is that Caleb, your program is afraid to show anything at orange and white games. I don't even know how much this is a practice. I mean, how long is Nico going to go, assuming he gets his contract wrapped up? What, 15 plays, maybe?
Dave, I'm trying to repeat coach speak on why this stuff matters, and Dave is the typical reporter being like, yeah, that's BS. That's BS. That's BS. It is still another practice. Come on. It's not as long as it's not as goofy as the Butch Jones skills challenges that they were doing in 2017. It's still another practice at the end of the day. Is it much different from this, Dave, back they used to hold every now and then they held an open scrimmage, didn't they? During the former years?
Yes.
Is it much different from that? It's an open scrimmage. So, come on.
I think you got more done in the open scrimmage, to be honest with you.
You think Fulmer got more done in the open scrimmage than on the spring game?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything the spring game. And they're going to have a couple of orchestrated deep passes from Nico to Mike Matthews, and call it a day and hope that McIntyre looks fantastic. That would get everybody excited because everybody loves the backup quarterback. This is simple PR marketing 101.
Dave is basically saying, guys, don't watch the spring game. He's telling you guys that right now. He's saying don't watch it. I
think a lot of people are going to watch the spring game. I think we'll tell you what we think of it. By the way, Steve, nice enough. We've only got 15 likes and over 100 people in the chat. So please hit that like button. We really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, do so to this point. What down?
Every rep matters, Dave, even the mental ones.
Yes, it does.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
All right, third down is this from Coop, a chance for players fighting for a starting role to leave a lasting impression throughout the summer. I don't believe they're going to do that with the coaches. I believe that would be the 14 previous practices in which they've done that. So I believe your reputation is pretty much set headed into the summer, and you're not going to change it a lot in a spring game that's scaled down.
Okay, so on principle, I would say this is something that can make a spring game important. But see, Dave, not with this coaching staff. I'm with you. I think Josh Heupel makes decisions very, very, very early over who he wants to start. I think he goes with it and he sticks with it no matter what, and he stubbornly sticks with it. And I think that, we know this from when Josh Heupel was at Tennessee when he first took the job. Let's be honest. There was a spring game in 2021. Joe Milton wasn't on the roster yet, but he had already committed to Tennessee. Heupel kept Joe Milton on the sidelines to watch the spring game, and Joe Milton was going to be the starter from the time he committed to Tennessee. There was never a fair open competition in 2021 for that. Heupel has his mind made up over who he wants to start, and he works with that as much as he possibly can.
Yeah. I don't think that anybody's going to change the starting lineup based off what they do Saturday in the spring game. Lastly, Coop, what down?
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
It's another way to involve the fans. I think there's some truth to that, as a lot of fans are priced out of going to a game now that it's not on TV. I think you'll have some more fans go. You involve the fans. The weather's supposed to be nice. So, I mean, there's significance in that, because a lot of fans are getting outpriced and are going to continue to do that. So, yeah, for now, it's good. I don't know that the spring game's going to be around 5 years from now.
Well, it's twofold. And by the way, we've talked about ways to make the spring game great. Now, I'll address those in 1 second. But first, it's a way to involve the fans. Also, they charge for it now. It's another way for more money because they got to pay players. Given the fact that Nico's out here negotiating money, you kind of need all the money you can get, right? And this is why, though, I agree spring games going out the window to a certain degree. But this is why the NCAA rejecting the Colorado-Syracuse game was so ridiculous. There is a huge opportunity here in the spring game. And I keep saying this, guys. Have two schools play each other on a neutral field. Bring in all the revenue. It doesn't count towards the season. But the revenue generated from that game, the winner gets it all. And they split it in terms of the players get a check, so they have something to play for, and then the school gets a certain amount of money that they can spend on players in the future. And then everybody's going to watch it at that point, aren't they, Dave? Like, every fan base would watch that if they knew that their school was playing for some money.
I'm all for changes, but it's not going to happen this year. So I look at Tennessee and what they hope to get done in spring camp or the spring game. I just think they hope that, especially with the news that Nico could be renegotiating his contract, don't you think they just hope that you come away from this? Well, two ways, actually. How about this, Caleb? If you think that you're going to re-sign Nico and you're happy about that, you want him to look fantastic because there might be a report where he gets an extra $1 million a year. But if you think that Nico's overrated in the back of Josh Heupel's mind, you might hope that Merklinger or McIntyre have a huge day so that you can determine exactly who your next quarterback is because you don't believe it's Nico. That could be the situation as well.
So you're saying they might set up Nico to fail tomorrow because that way they can make him look bad so other schools may not be willing to offer him as much money as he's trying to put up when he's negotiating. That is so diabolical, Dave. See, the spring game matters.
I said that it would be better if that is the case, if you're ready to move on, it would be better to have McIntyre or Merklinger look fantastic. I don't think you're trying to make him look bad in front of other schools.
I don't know, Dave. Sounds like you are. This is like who would be okay? What coach in history would be diabolical enough to do that? Would Nick Saban be diabolical enough to do that?
No, I don't know that it's a bad move now that we hash it out publicly, quite honest with you.
I mean, setting up your quarterback to fail seems kind of genius, doesn't it?
I mean, they're not on TV anymore, so other schools wouldn't, but schools are going to get the tape. So what if you call the most difficult plays? Nico's only going to play like 10, 15 plays. You call the most difficult plays possible. And by the way, Tavante calls me Diabolical Dave. Maybe I am that. But you heard his stock in the orange and white game, which means nothing. As much as I hate to say it, this idea is growing on me.
Yeah. Maybe even do something like hold him out for a play and just tell everybody he was banged up. So, like, make him look nimble too.
Or here's the ultimate way to do it. This is why Tennessee didn't recruit Cam Newton, is because he was suspended for the first play of one of his community college games. So maybe you just suspend him so there was an off-the-field issue and you run him out there with the second team. That's the way to completely undermine him.
Oh, my gosh, you're right. Isn't that what NFL teams do where they bring up character questions about players they're trying to re-sign and because they don't want other teams to throw money at them? Yeah.
Well, they do. I think that's what's happening with James Pierce and the character issues.
Oh, that's a great point.
You're right. I think there's some franchises that draft later in the first round, and they like to see him drop.
I think you're right. That's exactly what that is. All right, we have solved it. This is perfect.